Somebody once told me that you are not ever going to know success until you go bankrupt or fall flat on your face. I told that person, he was kind of a mentor to me, then I never want to experience success because I never wanted to go bankrupt, because I did understand that could be part of growing up, learning what success is all about, until the recession hit in 08, 09, 10, where I lost everything. I went from being with $3 or $4 million to being with a negative $4 million. And by me pivoting, understanding what happened, changing everything, I am now worth many millions of dollars because I hit rock bottom. I understood what money was, and it wasn't all about money, but it was the way I could maneuver, see myself, understand myself, and not put myself down and stick myself in a hole and pretend like nothing happened. I wanted to be successful. I could do it all over again. You do it once, you can do it again. And that's what success to me is all about. I was able to figure it out, understand it, and basically become stronger, better than the old version of myself.
Folks, you have tuned into TGV and happy welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording, and we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak, and here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future, and we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. And your host Navin Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. So, folks, we are joined by Aaron Lapidus, who is a best-selling author, public speaker, and founder of Fascination Sent Fine Art, an award-winning gallery established in 1991, and is known for his expertise in art collection, valuation, and also authentication. Aaron's entrepreneurial journey began at a very young age of 9, leading him to make his first million by 21. And he is also a dedicated father to a child on the autism spectrum and the author of The Garage Sale Millionaire and a boy named Penguin. And today we are going to have an important conversation on a topic about, again, the garage sale millionaire. And before we get into the topic, before we get into the conversation, here's an exciting twist. Let us tickle our guest's brain first. So, Aaron, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. Shall we get started?
Yes, well, thank you first for having me on. And I'm excited because a lot of people, when I started in this genre of making money, I didn't have the internet. I am a touch older than you, and I love to tell people how easy it is. It's just a lot of fun, and anybody can do it.
Yeah, let us unleash the secrets of how you earn money and teach our audience also. So we'll begin with the first rapid fire round, and here comes my first word: curiosity.
I really believe that garage sales, estate sales, and making money through marketplaces is just a lot easier. I believe anybody can do it. Just all you have to do is have a good internet connection and the love of collectibles. I love it. I don't know, do you personally collect anything?
No, I don't collect anything, Aaron. I used to collect pens when I was a kid, but off late I stopped doing it.
I'm sorry to hear that. It's a lot of fun when you collect something that you love.
Okay, so you're curious about collecting things. That is my understanding. And next word is invention.
I have to believe it. I'm going to change this word around a little bit because I kind of have reinvented myself a lot. First book I had was The Garage Sale Millionaire. That was 12 years ago, and I basically reinvented what this book was all about because of the way people buy and sell things online. So the way I see it is I reinvented myself and how the world around me has changed. And not only to reinvent, but I pivot. And that's what I did with my new book, How to Become the Garage Sale Millionaire.
And next one is future.
The future is changing because of AI. And because of that, you can find out anything you want to know a lot quicker than I have done. And basically, if you don't have chat some of the chats, IBT on your phone and other of the AI app, I think you're behind the mark, and I think the future is going to run over you.
Yeah, makes sense. And the next word is book, other than the garage sale millionaire, other than your books.
I believe everybody should be reading at least a book a month, a new book, something that pulls you out of your comfort zone, teaches you something new. Maybe all you like is business book, as I do, but talking about how, self-growth, nutrition, something different than you're normally not reading, because I believe the mind needs to grow so the body can grow with it.
And next is auction.
My life is based on auctions. Online, live, wherever it goes. Auctions tell you the true value of something. And so when you have an auction, there you know, when the hammer comes down, verbally or visually, that is what that item is worth. And a lot of people say, no, my item is worth more than what it sold for at auction. No, this is the going price. And so a lot of people don't understand, just because you own it doesn't mean it's worth more than what it sells for every day. I don't care what it is. If it's an apple and you have another apple, and the first apple at auction sold for $1, then your apple is worth $1.
And then resilience.
That one I can spend more time than you want me to, but you're going to have to be strong and resilient in this world. Life is not easy. I've seen it when I almost went bankrupt back in 2009, and if I wasn't resilient, the world would have crushed me. And so you have to understand, you have to be resilient to keep on going far in this life and be prepared for a lot of ups and downs.
Vintage.
Sometimes I feel like I'm vintage, and I don't like to feel that way, but vintage with anything tells me it's the history. And if we don't know the history of things, then we're bound to repeat it, either good or bad. And so I think a lot of the younger people kind of brush off things that are old or vintage. And for me, that's how I make my money. That is how I make my life, because vintage to me means older, and we should never brush off anything older in our life, according to items, people, whatever you may have. But I think vintage is the culture of our history.
And next word is investment.
Image. A lot of people are about their image. I am about my image, but so many people put too much effort into their image and not into what's behind it. And I believe that because I'm a little bit more vintage than some other people, I realize it's not all about the image. It's about what's behind the image. And I have changed how I see myself, how I see others. And I believe if the image is not everything, it's only one part of who you are and who that thing is that you're looking at. You have to look behind it and see what makes it up. And I think the image is just scratching the surface, my brother.
Next word is aliens.
That, for me, is a little bit more of a tougher word, because a lot of people have a different definition of that one. It's just more harder for me to work that out. So I'm going to pass on that one, because I'm not going to give a good analogy or a good story on that one. So I'm going to move to the next one.
Okay, the last one is success.
Somebody once told me that you are not ever going to know success until you go bankrupt or fall flat on your face. I told that person, he was kind of a mentor to me, then I'd never want to experience success, because I never wanted to go bankrupt, because I didn't understand that could be part of growing up, learning what success is all about, until the recession hit in 08, 09, 10, where I lost everything. I went from being worth $3 or $4 million to being worth a negative $4 million. And by me pivoting, understanding what happened, changing everything, I am now worth many millions of dollars, because I hit rock bottom. I understood what money was, and it wasn't all about money, but it was the way I could maneuver, see myself, understand myself, and not put myself down and stick myself in a hole and pretend like nothing happened. I wanted to be successful. I could do it all over again. You do it once, you can do it again. And that's what success to me is all about. I was able to figure it out, understand it, and basically become stronger, better than the old version of myself. which now I see I am truly successful.
All right, great responses to the first rapid fire round. And with that, let's get to the main conversation. First of all, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series. And thank you so much for being part of our journey. And let's get the ball rolling. Here comes my first question. So talk to us about your success mantra, as in the top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
It actually happened early on. Your parents, they put you on a pathway that you don't even know that you're on. My first garage sale was when I was 9, when my parents saw that I was being a little bit of a spoiled brat, and I had all these toys and everything like that, and I wanted more. Like just every kid, we want more. And depending what part of the world you come from, having several toys in the United States is equal to maybe 1 toy in Mexico, Africa, India, some of the poorer countries. And if those people have 1 toy, that kid is rich with happiness. And I think a lot of countries, their kids are spoiled and they'll have many toys and many clothes. And I think it dialed me down to realize that I needed to earn what I had. And because of that, my parents put me on a pathway of having more garage sales and making money for myself early on. And that, because of them, created my future success.
Let's move to the next question. How did your entrepreneurial journey evolve from flipping coins and stamps to becoming a successful art gallery owner?
I was always thinking of the next great thing. And a lot of people say, can you become an entrepreneur? And that is a loaded question for me, because I believe I was built this way early on. Entrepreneurs think differently than the whole world. We see things. It's about the money, but it's about creating and accomplishing and being the best at something, building a better mousetrap. And so I believe that early on, I saw I needed to see different ways of making money. And I'm going to tell you something funny. It was a woman who turned me on to art, and I couldn't believe how much she paid for it. And I felt I could do it. I could make money at buying and selling art. And that's how I did it. I started selling this one artist, Patrick Nagel, out of my house, and I became so big that I flooded the market in Colorado with Patrick Nagels. And I had people showing up in my house. My mom would answer the front door, let them on in, and escort them to the basement. I'd show them art, they'd give me cash, and my mom would escort them out. And I kept on doing it. I went to college, and people had all these artists, and they were, at the end of the year, they didn't want it, and I was able to buy stuff 10 cents on the dollar and buy all kinds of stuff 10 cents on the dollar. And that's how I went from buying coins and stamps to selling art and then opening up one of the top 5% of all art galleries in the nation.
That's so inspiring. And also, Aaron, what were some of the key challenges that you faced while building your businesses, and how did you overcome them? Because you mentioned you have gone bankrupt in 2009, right?
Yeah, well, that's funny. When you're younger, and you're young and successful, so it's different now, because being young and successful is commonplace. It's very common. But when I had my art gallery, when I was an art broker, when I was 21, 22, and then had my first art gallery when I was, I think, 24, 25, I couldn't show my face because nobody would take a young gallery owner serious. So I did everything over the phone. It was not until one time somebody said I had to do this deal face to face. And when they saw me, they thought I was a 60-year-old overweight man because of my voice was so deep, and I was always serious on the phone. And that was, believe it or not, it's different these days, but to overcome a challenge was people look different at you when you were young. Now it's accepted. Now people want to deal with only young people because they have the excitement, the wisdom, the new expertise of this world. Back then it was not as easy, and I did it. I got on boards. I was the first on the Denver International Film Festival board when I was 28, first to be the youngest chair on the Denver International Film Board. And then I went on to be on boards all over and being the youngest because I kind of felt I was breaking a glass ceiling back then. And that was probably one of my biggest struggles.
All right. So with that, let's move to the next one. Can you share some tips on how to have a 5-figure garage sale?
It's exciting because a lot of people think that you need to have a garage sale Saturday and Sunday. Some think they need to do it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And they spend all this time and then they make like $300 and they realize if they took all the hours and divided about what they made below minimum wage. And so I believe you start 3 weeks ahead of time. You go through every part of your house, every closet, every desk. You see anything duplicate. You see stuff you haven't used a long time. You call up your family. Do you have stuff? Your parents, clean out their garage, get all the stuff that they don't use. Bring it to your house, because if you don't have a lot of things in your front yard or your garage when you open it up, people are going to drive by. So you're going to do all this. You're going to have it on one day. Saturday is the best day. Second best day is a Friday.
Yeah.
Sunday is the worst day, and you never do it on a holiday weekend. So you put it all together. You get a lot of wonderful signs that you put out at 6 a.m. or late night before, because competition garage sales will take down your sign. Or if it's windy out. So if you're in a windy city, they'll blow down. Then you also put ads on Nextdoor, Craigslist. You make sure the expensive items are priced. The items under $5, you do not price. You want them to make people make an offer. You make sure you can handle Venmo and PayPal and cash. You don't take checks. You have everything out by 8 a.m. because most stuff will be sold by 10:30. You stay open till 3. You start at 1 o'clock, put everything, start in boxes and say one price takes all. And by the time 3 o'clock rolls up, you start rolling up the carpets and you donate everything else to 5013C, which is a charitable organization. And guaranteed, you're going to make more than $1,000 if you do this right.
Amazing. And also, can you talk to us about the top scams that should people be aware of when buying and selling online?
The biggest one is people will say, I love your item. They'll negotiate just a little bit. They'll let you win really quickly. Okay, I accept that. I am going to have my delivery person come pick it up. I'm going to send you a certified check right away. You'll get that ahead of time. And he'll come that same day and pick up the item. But I'm going to write you, this certified check is going to be for about 20% more. The delivery driver, you're going to have to pay for it for me. And I'm giving you extra money. You're going to pay him his fee for deliver it to me, and then the extra money you're going to keep as an inconvenience fee. And then your bank will call you in about 3-4 days and say that certified check is not a good check. And so not only are you out that, you're out the cash that you gave the delivery driver, and you have nothing. That's the most common one. The newest one is they'll ask you to buy something and say, I'm right now in a board meeting, or I'm out of town at death of a family. Please, this is the item you want. Great. I'll give you a little bit of a deal. Here's my PayPal account. And the PayPal account will be some weird letters and numbers at PayPal. And the next thing you know, you'll send your money, and you'll never hear from them again, and they'll never pay for it. Clone Facebook accounts are a big deal. So you can see somebody you think you know selling something, and so you think you're safe. But the next thing you know, 3 days later, you're out the money, and that friend is messaging you and saying, why are you texting me that I have these items on Facebook? So those are the two biggest. Never take a check, certified or nonetheless. Venmo is always the best way when you see it in your account. And you just got to always be safe. If you feel the deal is too good, then good chance the deal is not real.
Got it. And those kind of scams happen here in India as well. And people have to be wary about it. And mainly cloning of Facebook profiles is also another big thing that is happening, which is causing reputation damage and also some online money scams as well. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And let's move to the next one. Like, how has being a father to a child on the autism spectrum influenced your life and career? Because I've been discussing about the patience level levels of parents of children with autism. I think those guys, people like you, will have extreme patience level, and we have to first of all congratulate and kudos to you, because you need to really appreciate for the kind of thing that you guys have been doing. So talk to us about your experience of that.
Well, first, thank you for bringing this topic up, because it is very important. Autism is an epidemic that in the United States, it affects 1 in 48 boys and about 1 in 59 girls. But it is all over the country, and I know you have it in your country too.
Yep.
And the thing is, it's a lot bigger than people know, because if it's not diagnosed, it goes uncharted. And the only way to know is to see the signs and get your child tested early on. They can test as early as 3 years old, and then you need to get them in counseling and OT, occupational therapy, all those things to try to change the course of your child's future to the good, because most children can be helped greatly if you diagnose it early. My son was one of the lucky ones. My wife noticed it early and pushed for testing right at 3, and usually it takes a year to get into this test because they're overwhelmed. And then you start with therapy right away. Medication is also important depending the level, and you work with them. You know that they are special and wonderful and not weird like some in the news. Some people have called a child that's now in the news. I think it's somebody, VP Walt's potential running mate is Harris's potential running mate has a child on the spectrum, and somebody foolishly called the child weird. That is full demeaning. Any parent of any child that has a kid on the spectrum, it hurts them at the heart level. And I think if we take this seriously and put money behind it, in everywhere in the world, these people can be community leaders and help move our world forward. And once again, I appreciate you asking me that question, because my son is going to now, I believe he's going to go to one of the best colleges in the United States. He is smart. He keeps me on my toes, and he is actually my hero.
So great to hear that, such an inspiring story. And Aaron, we have had an amazing conversation so far, and it's time for us to add some more excitement and some more fun to the episode.
Hello, I'm Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience, and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.
So if you're ready, I am going to kick off this second rapid fire round with a set of intriguing questions.
Okay.
Okay, comes my first bullet out of second rapid fire. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
Be kind and pass it on. You know, when I was younger, I thought that would be foolish. So many people I'm at the part of my life, it's not about money anymore, business. It's about appreciating people. And so many people these days could give a damn about other people, and they're racing to their job, they're racing to the bar, whatever, and they don't care about anything in their way. So the billboard would be kind.
Amazing. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
Searching.
And what is the most valuable item you have ever found at a garage sale?
A tin toy from the 1930s. It was Army servicemen brought it back from World War II, and it was made in the 30s, and he had it in his garage sale, asked for like $25. I didn't really know about tin toys back then. I bought it and then ended up selling it for $1,100 about 9 months later.
Wonderful. And favorite book besides your own book?
Red Pony by Steinbeck. It was one of the first books I read a long time ago. I probably will never forget it. It taught me about actually kindness.
Okay.
And I kind of somewhere for a while lost my way. And so I always have that book, and I look at it and I read chapters every now and then when I need to be grounded.
And then one piece of advice you would give to your own younger self?
Don't believe all the press clippings. I've been written about as early as 24, being one of the youngest art gallery owners, board members, youngest to be on national PBS with a TV show. And at one time, my ego, my wife would say, you would have to extend the opening of the front door because my ego got very, very large. And it took me to get a little older to realize press clippings don't make the person.
Most inspiring person you have met so far?
It was my father. My father truly, and I know that's cliche, but my father was an amazing person and guided me through a lot of my ups and downs in my life. He passed away about 15 years ago, and I'll never forget what he has done to change my life and put it on the right path. And then a close second is my son.
Thank you for sharing that, and sorry to hear about your father's passing away. And here comes the last one for the rapid fire. What is one electronic gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself?
You know, this AI stuff where they can mimic you and you talk, and it talks for you and do it. It's already out there, but I can't wait until they do like the hologram where you can like literally have it at your house answering like phone calls that are all going to start to be video. And so all the scammers, you can play with their mind and just keep the scammers on the phone, but it's not wasting your time, and ask them if they can call. You can call them at your home, their home, and just waste their time, or talk to people that always need to talk, and stick your hologram in front of that video, and you're doing something you enjoy while your hologram is doing all the work.
Good one, interesting. And that's a great second rapid fire. Let's flip back to the mainstream. So what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs who want to start their own businesses?
A lot of people say they don't have the money, and I believe whatever you do, whether you work in fast food, you're a janitor, whatever you do, save money. Don't go to Starbucks. Don't be wasteful. You know, in my industry of garage sales and eBay and marketplaces, you don't need a lot of money to start, but you need to know that the only way you become rich and wealthy is you save and take the money you make and reinvest it. And that is the way everybody does it. They don't go to Starbucks. They don't waste money frivolously. They don't buy brand new cars. They don't live in the most expensive part of town. They save money until then they can afford to spend money. And it doesn't matter if all you have is $50 to invest at your local garage sale. That's enough to keep on doubling it and doubling it and doubling it. You hear some of these mega millionaires. They didn't start to make real money until their 50s. Why? It's because they didn't have faith in themselves. So if people can make millions starting in their 50s, imagine what you can do if you're 18, 19, 22 years old and you stay focused.
Got it. That is amazing. And I loved every bit of our conversation. And Aaron, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing amazing insights with our audience, and I really appreciate it. So how is your experience being hosted on my show, the Guiding Voice podcast?
I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. Your podcast is a lot different than a lot of other podcasts I'm on, and so I apologize. I had to get used to it right away. You give me a minute or two and I get into the zone.
No, you did well, and thank you so much once again. So friends, that was our episode with Aaron Lapidis. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. In case if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, the Guiding Voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now let's hop into the trivia segment of today's episode. Having had an amazing conversation with Aaron, who started the very young age of 9, I thought I would present you a few facts related to famous and rich people who started early. You know, the first one is Warren Buffett, who bought his first stock at age 11 and filed his first tax return at age 13. Next is Oprah Winfrey, who began her broadcasting career at WVOL Radio in Nashville while still in high school. And next, Richard Branson started his first business, a magazine called Student, at age 16. Next, Mark Zuckerberg launched Facebook from his Harvard dorm room at age 19. And finally, Steve Jobs, who co-founded Apple in his parents' garage when he was just 21. Likewise, if you have any interesting story related to any entrepreneur who has started early, do let me know. I would love to hear from you about that. And if you are watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there, or if you found this episode on some social media platforms, you can comment there as well. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome community. And see you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Goodbye for now. Love you all. Take care, guys.